Good morning. Welcome to the Dallas International Film Festival. I'm here with Wes Orshoski, co-director and co-producer of Lemmy. How are you today?
Doing great. Good to be here.
What's your experience been here at the Dallas Festival so far?
Beer, more beer, and a little more beer after that. That's what it's been. I've seen one film so far, the Basquiat documentary, which was great. It was really moving. Upsetting at the end, when he dies. But I guess I already knew he was dead, so...
Spoiler alert.
Yeah. No, but 27-year-old old dies of heroin. How people don't learn, But yeah, anyway.
So let's talk a little bit about your movie, Lemmy.
Let's talk about Lemmy.
So tell me about it.
What do you want to know about it? It's a documentary. Greg and I spent, my directing producing partner, Greg Oliver, and I spent 3 years on the road with Lemmy, going on and off the road with Motorhead and, visiting Lemmy at home, other places throughout the U.S., Europe, everywhere from Russia to Seattle, Dallas to Copenhagen, So I'll probably have trouble hearing you in the next 5 minutes because of that. No, they're the loudest band in the world, so yeah.
Go ahead.
I'm just gonna ramble on. I don't have anything else really.
So I want to know. Tell me, did he respond well to having you in his life for so long? You and your cameras and your partner and everything.
Well, there's kind of like a little group of outtakes at the end of the film, and you'll get the idea. No, I mean he's used to people taking his photo and filming him. I mean, he's been a celebrity since the 1960s, so he's used to it. But he never aspired to have a movie made about him. So we've had him flip us off a million times. We've gotten a lot of fuck offs on camera. And am I not allowed to cuss? No, I got to keep it clean. Anyway, so yeah, I mean he told us to fuck off more than a million times probably over the last 3 years. But it's it's all kind of funny because we got them all on camera, so it's kind of it's humorous to see Lemmy get irritated by the camera. But yeah, but I mean he. Like I said, he was never someone who wanted to have a film made about him, but I think he's glad that it's done now. It's not only that it's finished, but that actually we did something that he's proud of. I mean, I think he said to me that he nearly died of embarrassment like 4 or 5 times, but but the cool thing is he had the courage and he was brave enough to let that stuff go out there anyway. It's like a lot of people disrespect Metallica and make fun of them, for putting out this movie where they have a therapist. But I think it was the bravest, boldest thing they could have done at that time in their career. I mean, to me, I fell back in love with the band, after seeing that movie. And it's the same kind of, Lemmy had to use that same kind of courage. He had to put himself out there. I mean, if you're not vulnerable, then, in any kind of art form, then it's not really worth paying any attention to, is it, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It seems like it's kind of different. You kind of see like Keith Richards is all over the place, and Lemmy's not really like that.
Yeah. Keith is a much bigger star. One of one of the top 5 probably most famous rock stars of all time. But it's funny. Lemmy lives a much more. I mean, I love Keith, right? Sure. I'm a huge Keith fan, right? And but I think Lemmy lives more of a truer, down and dirty rock and roll lifestyle than Keith does. Lemmy's not flying. Lemmy doesn't have a house in Jamaica, or he's not flying off to exotic locations and sipping cocktails and with a joint and dangling from his mouth. I mean, Lemmy is down and dirty, and he's the real thing. He's the real article. Yeah.
So how did this kind of come about? Are you just a huge fan, or just interested in the music in general, or?
A little bit of both. I mean, a couple of years ago, Lemmy put out a rockabilly side project, a record by his group with Slim Jim from the Stray Cats called The Head Cat, Motorhead, Stray Cats, Head Cat. And I couldn't stop listening to it, man. It was like, it's an album of covers of Chuck Berry, Buddy Holly, Johnny Cash, Carl Perkins, and I couldn't stop listening to it. And when Greg and we were looking for a project to start working on, and I was like, I have the perfect idea. Let's do a film on Lemmy, because that record showed a new side of Lemmy. I mean, it's the songs he grew up on, the songs that he loves. I mean, people don't understand that Lemmy is 64 years old. He's a contemporary of Paul McCartney. He saw the Beatles at the Cavern Club. He goes that far back, and and so the music that he grew up on was the very beginning of rock and roll. And so, you know, when he goes home from a Motorhead tour, you know, he sits you know, he books some gigs with Slim and Danny from Headcat, and then he just goes out and plays the songs that he's loved since he was a little kid. You know, it's inspiring, man. And we have Headcat in the movie, and you'll see that side of him too. You know, it's like that's one thing that we wanted to put across in the movie, is that Lemmy is from the original group of rock icons. Mm-hmm. He is in that class. He's a peer of these people, right? We're talking about Keith Richards. You know, he is a peer of the great rock stars, you know, ever. And he goes back. He knows his history. He knows rock and roll better than any of us do. You know, because he was there from the beginning. You know, he's seen it grow and blossom. You know. Yeah.
Talking about him being one of the original rock icons, I'm curious about the process of making this movie. You know, you talked about being at concerts and you went all over the world with him. You also did quite a few interviews with other rock stars.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, one thing that we wanted to do is we didn't want to make it an exclusive kind of movie. We didn't want to exclude anyone, so we didn't want to make it just a heavy metal movie, right? Sure. So we have people from Jarvis Cocker from Pulp and Peter Hook from Joy Division in the film, and so we don't only have the guys that you obviously know were influenced by him, Metallica, you know, friends of his, Ozzy Osbourne, but we also have people that you wouldn't normally think, like Joan Jett, you know, like Joan and Lemmy go way back, and it's just kind of funny because we're kind of doing these film festival circuits together. Like the Runaways movie just came out, and there's something really kind of cool and beautiful about that, because Lemmy was at the premiere in LA of the Runaways movie, and you know, Joan told us this one awesome story that we were trying to work into the movie, but it was too hard, man. We were trying to shoehorn it in, so you have to wait for the extras. But she told us this great story about how the lead singer of the Germs was visiting London. There's if you know anything about the Germs, the band The Germs, right? Darby Crash was in London for a period, and at one point when the Runaways were playing, you know, he knew the Runaways from LA. He jumped up on stage, and Lemmy and Motorhead in their heyday saw that, and they went into like attack mode, because the Runaways were these teenage girls, right? Mm-hmm. And they saw this creep jump up on stage, and Lemmy and some other guys beat Darby Crash down, and Joan had to like jump on top of them, trying to get him to, you know, understand that was their friend, just, you know, being a show off, I guess, you know. It's kind of funny. Anyway, I'm rambling.
Sounds like the right guy to have in your corner, though.
Yeah, I don't know if he's throwing too many punches these days, but yeah, you definitely want Lemmy on your side and not the other way around. You know.
Now, what's your film's website where people can go and check it out?
Lemmymovie.com, and we also have a Facebook page, Lemmy Movie.
Right.
Yeah.
I was on the website last night. It's good. Well, thank you so much for coming in and talking to us about the Music Lovers film.
Yeah, cool. Awesome.
Have a good day.